Hi guys, welcome to SimLive. My name is Kiki and this video I'm doing something a little different. I'm working on a character at the moment and mid-project I decided I wanted to create a dragon necklace accessory because this particular character has 3 dragons. Well, if you're up to date on the story, she only has 2 at the moment. But I wanted the baby versions and then she definitely has 3. So this started out with me trying to create a necklace in the shape of a baby dragon, and then whilst I was working on the idea and how am I going to do this and what am I going to start with, the idea kind of blew up and grew in that I wanted a pet dragon. Not in real life, obviously, in The Sims. I don't know if you know the bear that comes with Outdoor Retreat and the flower bunny with seasons. Well, they're basically suits that fit over your sim, which then allows them to be either a bear or a flower bunny, or I think they can get Patchy's, the scarecrow, that outfit as well. So I thought the theory I had in my mind whilst I was working on this project, mulling it over in my head, was to create a suit that could go over a pet. So if you have cats and dogs, you can have pets in The Sims, or rather cats and dogs, and I wanted a dragon. So I thought if I created a suit, then I could equip that onto the, well, I was creating it for a medium-sized dog, and basically have a baby dragon. But unfortunately, I encountered many difficulties whilst working on this project. So I'm still waiting on help. And thanks so much to Feyona on the Sims 4 Studio forum who helped me out with this, because not only was I encountering many difficulties with just the simple idea of having a dragon mesh as a necklace, but obviously also with the suit. So the suit thing didn't work. But what I started with, so as you can see on screen, I am meshing the body of the dragon, and this particular dragon type is bipedal. It can walk on all fours as well. The wings kind of work as arms, I guess, and sometimes you see the dragons move forwards on arms and legs. But just because I like the way that the wings went up, I decided to just stick with wings up in the air. So it's a bipedal dragon. My initial idea was to create a suit that would go over the medium-sized dog that wouldn't have any forearms. So at first I was trying to figure out a way that I could get rid of the dog's forearms, but I crashed my game doing this. It wouldn't accept the mod, so I then decided one of my problem or troubleshoot solutions was to then create a different, so remesh the mesh that I just created and created a quadruped dragon, so with 4 arms, well, 4 paws, back legs, and also the wings. So it's a different from the actual design of the dragons itself, but I thought, oh, for the sake of the idea, let's just go with this and see if this will work. I spent a total of 2 days weight painting the first attempt, so the bipedal dragon, because I'm not very familiar with it, and there's a lot of bones. I think at one point I counted it, I think there's like 96 that all had to be individually weight painted, and well, so that crashed my game. I then tried the quadruped dragon, again went through 2 days of weight painting, so it could be animated, so it would have facial expressions if you would, you know, if the dog would wear it. Again, that crashed my game as well, and I have not yet been able to create something that doesn't crash my game. So I've parked the idea for now. I've parked the idea of a pet dragon because I'm still waiting for help. I don't know if help will come. I don't know if anyone else has a way of making this work. So for now, I have not yet deleted the files. Although usually I'm really ruthless when it comes to deleting files. That's why sometimes I accidentally also delete video material. Yeah, if like a file is unused for 2 days on my computer, it automatically just, you know, it's like a tick almost. It just disappears in my trash and I don't even know that I'm emptying my trash. I just, you know, somewhere subconsciously I must see in my peripheral vision that the bin is full, and then I suddenly hear the noise of the bin being emptied, and I'm like, oh no, I emptied it. What if something important was in there? This all happens subconsciously. But I must always have a clear bin, and, you know, because of my OCD and getting rid of files, because I'm always short of storage on my computer, sometimes I delete necessary files that I haven't backed up either because all my backup drives are full. Oops. But anyway, they're still on my computer. If help comes soon, then maybe I will revisit the idea, because how awesome and cool would it be to have this little baby dragon in the Sims 4 as a dog? It would be so cute. Anyway, parked the idea for now, went back to the original idea, as in just to have the dog, the dragon as an accessory, as a necklace, because he'll be lying asleep on her shoulder. Now, the reason why the idea formed in my head that I wanted it to be animated, and then it evolved into the idea of wanting it as a pet, was because I was afraid if you would have the dragon lying on her shoulder, you know, I'm creating it in such a way that it looks like it's sleeping, but it still kind of looks like you're wearing a fur scarf, even though this, you know, the dragon doesn't have fur. Do you know what I mean? Like you're wearing a fur scarf. I don't know, does that have a name? Just a fur. It doesn't have fur, but a reptilian skin. And I didn't like that idea. I don't want it to look like she's, you know, wearing a dead dragon around her shoulder like a boa. So I don't think it looks like it's dead. I try to, you know, mesh it in such a way that it looks like it's sleeping, that it's just having a little snooze on her shoulder, and that's what we're going with. It's not a dead dragon on her shoulder. It's just a cute little baby dragon who's fallen asleep on the shoulder, okay? So that's what I'm going with. And right now you see me creating eyeballs, because at this point I'm still working on the mesh as if it was going to be animated into a pet. But the final form, it will be sleeping on her shoulder, and I had to get rid of the eyes because the eyes kept clipping through the eyelid, which was a little bit annoying, because obviously as a necklace, it then I had to get rid of all the weight painting that I've been doing for 4 days, and then weight painted to the shoulders and the neck of the sim. So yeah, a lot of work went in this project. And I'll admit it. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Well, actually, it turned out the way the original idea was. But we always want more, don't we? Once the idea is there, you can't go back. So yeah. So right now, I am doing the horn. Oh, I haven't actually mentioned... well, I think it's pretty obvious, the character that I'm creating. But just in case it wasn't obvious, it is obviously Daenerys Targaryen, and she has 3 dragons called Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. R.I.P. Viserion. No spoilers. Although that was a massive spoiler. Oi, if you're not up to date to the series at this point, come on, right? Season 8 is about to come out. Okay, that's very much a positive attitude to that. Season 8 is nowhere near, but the trailer is almost coming out. I'm keeping an eye out for that on YouTube. If you hadn't noticed, I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan. Like massive, like huge Game of Thrones fan. I think I've watched all the series, what am I saying? All the seasons at least 4 times each. And I've also listened to the audiobooks of the books. I haven't read the books, but I've listened to the audiobooks. So yeah, I was quite surprised to see the spelling of some of the character names. Like Daenerys. How confusing is that spelling?
Daenerys Targaryen.
Daenerys Targaryen. Daenerys Targaryen.
Surely you could have gone with an easier way. I think also, like, if you're listening to the audiobook, like the first 3 chapters of book 1, it's like Daenerys Targaryen, Daenerys, and then after 3 chapters, it's Dany. She suddenly has a nickname, which I totally understand because her name is so long. But this particular design is based off of Drogon, I think all the dragons are... Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the dragons are identical. They're the same species. They just have different coloring. What is an animal that has... Well, I guess dogs. You can have... No. Yeah, I guess there's... it wasn't a good example. It's a reptilian that can have different colors. Oh, and what I'm trying right now, you might have noticed I added a shape key so I could open the mouth. That was purely so I could paint and also weight paint easier inside the mouth. But I'm trying this stencil painting technique that I just thought was interesting. Not interested. I don't actually use it because it ended up being too low res for me to work with in Photoshop, but I still thought it was interesting, so I kept the footage in there. But I'll be completely redoing the texture, the skin texture. Right now I'm creating the eye, which was still when the idea was alive of it being a pet dragon, because right now it doesn't have eyeballs, which is a little creepy, but just don't think about it. It has its eyes shut. Just imagine there are eyeballs behind the eyelids. But yeah, this was me painting the eye of the dragon. At first I just wanted to grab a picture of Google, but then I thought, oh, but that would be considered lazy, wouldn't it? Let's just paint one myself. I'm sure it will be easy. It wasn't too hard. So now in Photoshop, I'm actually starting on the skin of the dragon. So I've dirty vertex painted the vertexes. Right, that makes a lot of sense. Basically, I created a cavity map, and over that I am creating some scales, what I was trying to do with the stencil painting inside Blender before. And this is I'm just testing in Blender right now to see what that looks like, but this will become an overlay, and then all I have to do for the different swatches is change the colors. So right now I'm just looking up a picture of Drogon so I can use his colors. That's kind of the color that I got from eyedropping it. I will be changing it to a bit more brown because that might be the color when you eyedrop it, but I feel like it's more black brownish with red. So I'm going with that. So the skin that I created earlier is an overlay, and then all I have to do in a layer underneath that is just adjust the colors, and that way I can create 4 different swatches. I was not pausing for dramatic effect. I was actually just trying to find the words. But if you want, we can pretend it was for dramatic effect. Again, the eyeball, it won't actually be in there. Well, if I ever manage to create the dragon as a pet, then it will obviously have eyeballs. So, things that I learned from this first attempt, I'm very happy with what that looks like in Blender, by the way, hey, is actually the way that I unwrapped it. The UVs on there are a little bit too stretched in certain places, so the texture is not optimized. I'll be honest, I'll be very honest. It could have looked better, but at this point I was this far in the project, and creating a completely new UV map is a pain. Because I actually did that for the pet dragon idea, and you know, when I restarted it with when I recreated it as a quadruped rather than biped. We'll go with that. I actually had to completely redo the unwrapping, and that on its own also took a day just to sort that out and try to make it look as close as possible to an EA UV0 map. And then I also, of course, because if it's over a pet, I thought it had to be slider compatible, I also completely unwrapped and UV mapped the UV1, the UV1 map, and that on its own also took ages because I was trying to make it fit the dog's UV1 map. A lot of work for nothing. Maybe it won't all be for nothing. Maybe if help comes. Because personally I tried so many things to troubleshoot it. I just don't know. At this point I just don't understand why my game keeps crashing every time I upload it. Because if you would create it for The Sims, it would... For a sim, not a dog or a pet or a cat. you know, you could easily create a suit, just load it over some other full body suit, way paint it, blah blah blah. You know, it just sounds so easy in my head, and it just didn't turn out that easy for the dog, unfortunately. So right now I am folding up. So at this point I've given up the idea of having it as a pet, and now I'm creating the necklace. So I'm folding up my little baby dragon so it can lie asleep on her shoulder. And I'm just skipping the other side because it's basically the same. I haven't mirrored it again, because if I'd mirror it again I'd have to re-unwrap it again. I didn't want to do all of that. So no, I've just kept it as it is. Now at this point, because I've been working with this mesh for such a long time, the scales on the back, or the spikes on the back, have kind of ruffled a little bit more than I wanted to. And it's just because I've been working with this mesh, moving it around, faffing about with it for so long. That's just happened. But I'm actually quite proud. I meshed this entire dragon without using the subserve modifier, because usually I'd use the subserve modifier, but because I was going to upload this as a necklace, I was trying to keep the poly count as low as possible. So I just tried to create the shape with as little cuts and vertices as possible. So granted, it is a little blocky, but again, it's a necklace accessory, so I don't really want it to have any more vertices than it already has at the moment. So now I'm just positioning the dragon on her shoulder. It needs a little bit more adjusting here and there, a bit more curving, but in the end I do think it looks adorable. And I've, you know, put the head around, it's sleeping on its wing, like, is it swans? Or ducks do that as well. It's so cute. Oh, ducks are so cute. So here we are in the Sims game itself, just checking out what my work looks like. And again, super many thanks to Feyona, because I kept crashing my game just to upload this as well. But here we are. So this is Drogon. I'm just, obviously with a walk like this, it's gonna deform quite a lot. But with all the other walks, it seems to be working fine. I mean, with the sleepy one and the funny one, I don't know what the name is, the goofy walk, it looks a little bit like it's about to slide off the shoulder itself. But hopefully you won't think that it looks like a dead dragon. Anyway, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you'll join me for the continuation of this project. Have a lovely day. See you later, and bye-bye.